Hey, this is Graham, and today I'm going to be talking to you guys a little bit about my 2013 Mustang V6, also known as Thunder. Now, you guys may remember you have seen this car before in my 2013 Mustang review. This is my car. I was reviewing my car for that first review. But otherwise, you guys haven't really seen this thing much. You may have seen it in some of the caffeine and octane videos. I've snuck it in there a little bit, but otherwise, that's about it. So I'm here to talk to you guys a little bit about what I've done to my car since then. I've just recently, pretty much for Christmas, I've done exhaust and springs are the biggest ones. I also did a panhard bar and some minor little things like that. But the biggest ones are the springs and the exhaust. So I've decided I'm going to make a video about it, and I'm going to review both the springs and the exhaust, and I hope you guys all enjoy. Again, this is Thunder, my 2013 Mustang V6. Thunder's her name, it's what I like to call her. So hopefully from here on you guys are going to start to see her a little bit more often, especially in some of these mod videos, these I guess build videos. This is kind of my project car, more or less, just kind of turning her into mine. You know, for about 2.5 years she was completely stock, but now she's finally getting some of her own personality. So I hope you guys all enjoyed this video. These two videos, I guess, is how I'm going to do it. I'm not sure if I'm going to split these up yet or not, but if I don't, I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I will see you guys later on. First off, I'm going to talk about my exhaust. This is the Borla S-Type Axleback. It retails for around $750, which I know is on the pricier side for just an Axleback exhaust system. But this exhaust really makes this car sound good, guys. It is the perfect exhaust for a V6. I'll flat out say it. It is the best one you could possibly get. I've done a lot of research about this because I wanted to make sure that I got the perfect exhaust for my car. It's really hard to find the right exhaust for this car. A lot of the exhaust systems built for the 3.7 liter V6 really are just loud to be loud. They're not tuned right. They don't sound proper. They sound kind of ricey and really kind of twangy and too high pitched, and they just don't sound great. But there is an exhaust that fixes all of that, and that is the exhaust that I have on this car. This exhaust sounds absolutely perfect. Low in the RPMs, it's nice and rumbly and gurgly, especially on startup. It sounds mean. It sounds like a muscle car should, despite the fact that it's a V6 and not a V8. What I love most about this exhaust is the fact that when you're just cruising along, it's very subtle, very tame from inside the car. You don't really even hear it. But when you get on it and you get going and you climb up in the revs, it really starts to just roar, and it sounds extremely good. Just better than I could have imagined it was going to sound. Like I said, it took me a long time to figure out exactly what exhaust I wanted for this car. I went through many different options, and I finally settled on this one after hearing it in person. A lot of the audio tests online don't sound that great, and I'm really going to try and help you guys out with that. I'm really trying to make this one sound good and represent the exhaust properly, because this really does sound fantastic. It has a very nice bassy tone to it without being way too obnoxiously loud and you know, deafening, really. So I chose this exhaust because it's a mid-range exhaust. Of course, the stock exhaust sounds, well, it doesn't even sound like anything. It's too quiet to even hear. When you're inside the car, all you could hear was the engine before, but then when you add an exhaust like this one, you start to hear the exhaust. You don't hear the engine and the clutch fan and all of that stuff anymore. You hear the exhaust from the back of the car, and it sounds so good from the inside. And when you're driving with the windows down, it sounds even better. So I really do highly recommend this exhaust to anybody that's looking for the perfect exhaust for their V6. I definitely say that this is the perfect one. This one has 4.5 inch polished chrome tips that really look really good. They fill up that space, that cutout in the back bumper where the exhaust pipe goes. As you know, the stock exhaust tips look just horrible. They just look terrible. They didn't fill up that space. They looked really cheap, felt really cheap. They were sharp. This new exhaust, they're polished chrome tips. They're big, beefy. They fill up that hole. They're cut at an angle to really fit the shape of the bumper. And they really just give the back of the car that muscle car look that you really are striving to get with a Mustang. And they really just complete the whole look of the car. Just complete it. It looks so good, sounds so good. You cannot go wrong with these exhausts. You will not be disappointed. They are, like I said, they might not be on the louder side, but I'd say that they're loud enough. They're not obnoxious, but they do grab attention. They sound good. They're tuned just right. So don't doubt this exhaust. If you're looking at this exhaust, don't let the price scare you. They're definitely worth the price. 100% worth the price. You couldn't go wrong with these things. So again, they are the Borla S-type axle-back exhaust. They retail for $750 on American Muscle. That's where I picked them up from. But of course, you can get them from somewhere else too. They shouldn't be any more expensive anywhere else. But again, I love the exhaust. It sounds good, and like you, I have looked long and hard for the proper exhaust for this car, and these are what I settled on, and I am in no way disappointed. They are perfect. Alright, so let's talk about the springs that I added. These springs are the Ford Racing In springs. They are designed specifically for the 11 to 14 Mustang V6 by Ford Racing. So that right there was enough to tempt me to go ahead and buy these springs. They are a little bit more expensive than, say, SR springs, but because they are designed by Ford for this specific car alone, it really convinced me to go ahead and spend a little bit extra money to go ahead and buy these. Now, these are $200, which is not much at all for what you get out of them. This car, compared to stock, handles so much better and looks so much better. It lowers the car 1.25 inches, and because of that, because of the lower center of gravity and the stiffer springs, it really changes the characteristics of the car completely. You can throw this thing into a corner and it sticks, unlike anything else. And this is a $200 upgrade, and that's it. That's all it takes to make this car handle, I'd say, like the 2015 Mustang V6. There's almost no body roll now. There was a whole lot of body roll before on the stock suspension, but now with these springs, they're two-way springs, of course, so the ride is still very comfortable. It's a little bit more firm, and you do feel a little bit more of the road, but it's honestly not as harsh as the stock suspension was. I think this suspension is better than the stock suspension, which is just blows my mind. All it takes is $200 to improve the ride quality and the handling of this car. I left the stock struts, the stock shocks and all of that, and all I did was add these springs, and it has just changed the car's characteristics completely. You definitely notice it when you throw the car into a corner. There's so much less body roll than there was before, and it really it makes the car well, let me say this, it improves the driver confidence. You're not worried about the car losing grip like you were before with stock suspension, you know, because the car leans so much through a corner on stock suspension that you get kind of nervous about you know, what it's going to do. Now, I don't want to rag on this car a lot, because even stock it did handle extremely well. Because of the V6, it really makes it more nimble in the front end. There's not as much weight up there as there is with, say, the GT or other cars. So you can really, you could already throw this thing into a corner and it handle extremely well. But now with the springs, you can do that, and it really grips, like really grips. I definitely like comparing it to the Mustang the 2015 Mustang V6, you know, the S550. Sorry for stuttering, but it's like the S550 almost. You know, you can throw that car through a corner, and it's very nimble. It's very light on its feet. It just sticks through a corner, no body roll or anything like that. And that's what these springs really do to this car. They really up the ante and make it handle a lot better than stock. So for $200, you could not go wrong with these springs. It is perfect. You don't necessarily need aftermarket struts or shocks. You can just go straight with these springs, and you'll be fine. You might notice a little bit more of a skip from the rear end with the lever axle than say with the stock suspension, but it's nothing that you can't handle. It's not a drastic change. Down the road, you might feel the need to do some rear control arms, but you really don't need it. The way it is with these springs alone is absolutely fantastic. You can't go wrong with these springs. Again, these are Ford Racing in springs designed specifically for the V6 Mustang. They retail for $200, and they are absolutely perfect. So I hope that this video helps you guys out. I hope that any of you Mustang owners out there look into these, because I myself absolutely love them. You can't go wrong with these things. So thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you all next time. Goodbye.